Current and past leaders, fellow Toastmasters, distinguished guests, and ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Welcome to Division H&M online workshop. I'm Alvin Wijaya, your MC tonight. Tonight's workshop is happening now for us to learn. Thanks to a team of different committees who have planned the detail, right from the start till very end, deliver the best learning experience. May I have a short session? From Division H, could you please give a virtual thumb? Division M, could you please give a virtual thumb? From other division, could you please give a virtual thumb? Let us give our very big welcoming virtual applause to everyone. And in every event, there is always one person, the organizing chair, who leads this incredible team. Distinguished guests, fellow Toastmasters, ladies and gentlemen, to begin this session, I would like to invite our organizing chair to give the opening remarks. She is an energetic person and lovely lady. Please welcome Toastmaster Suryani Sitorus. The time and place are yours.
Finance Manager, Toastmaster Jason Cook. Administration Manager, Distinguished Toastmaster Nur Zaihanirah. Division H Director, Toastmaster Yesiska. Division M Director, Toastmaster Ana Nurifka Ayun. Immediate Past District Director, Distinguished Toastmaster Wong Tohi. Past District Governor, Distinguished Toastmaster Sutarno Ko. Past District Division, Distinguished Toastmaster Liana Kwan. Immediate Past Division H, Toastmaster Suharjo Setio. Immediate Past Division M Director, Toastmaster Yudi Ismanto. Past Division Governor, Distinguished Toastmaster Sukiman Saragi. Past Division Governor, Distinguished Toastmaster Boy Henry. Past Division Director, Distinguished Toastmaster Sylvia Wong. Fellow Toastmasters, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the workshop Online Contest Best Practice. It's a great honor for having all of you to be here. I am Suryani Sitorus, serving as the organizing chair for tonight's workshop. I am so glad to see the ambience here now. Everybody of us are here to learn something new from our speaker. Well, without any further ado, let us welcome our workshop. Let us embrace and let us learn something new for tonight. Well, that's for me. Thank you very much for joining us. Back to you, our MC, Master Alvin Wijaya.
Ladies and gentlemen, before call our speaker, I would like to remind to all of the audience about the house rule. To maximize our learning experience, I would like to encourage all of us to turn on our video to show our support to the speaker. I would like to remind all of us, right after our main session in 1 hour will be followed by 30 minutes question and answer session. If you have any question to the speaker, please leave me a direct message. And at the question and answer, I will read your question so that our speaker may give us more information about it. Tonight's material is about our online contest best practice, presented to all of us who need to know more about the online contest. So, who is our speaker? I met this leader during the district contest. She was the contest chair for the district contest. She managed the contest really well. And for me, she is such a professional leader. She is also currently serving as a District 87 Administration Manager and also a certified HRDF trainer. With this, I would like to invite with a big round of applause to our keynote speaker. Please welcome distinguished Toastmaster Nur Zaihanirah. The spotlight and time are yours.
Thank you very much, Alvin, for that huge and grand introduction. There was a small hiccup that the host does not allow anyone to unmute themselves unless the host unmute. So that's why I wasn't making any noise earlier. First of all, thank you very much, everyone, for coming in. I can see there are 88 participants, a very nice 88 number that is attending tonight, spending your Monday night in a workshop. And if I can tell you, this is one of those very technical workshops that most people finds it hard to being able to conduct. So I try my best to be able to summarize it for you. Now, for your information, all this information and best practices are not made by me. It is actually made by all the people in districts all over the world. They actually uploaded these guidelines. So what I'm doing here is that I will summarize the guideline for you and try to be able to do it in a way that our district could practice them. Now, before I begin, may I know which club do you come from? Can you type in the chat so I'll be able to see? I'd like to take this opportunity while everyone is typing in the chat box to thank Division H and M for this initiative. I do believe that it is very important to organize a very good contest, especially now all the contests has to embark on online. We can see there are those from Titanium, Phoenix, Delhi, UCTS, Real Fiber, Medan First, Empire, Delhi, Polonia, Chandana, Magical Valley, Maranatha, Riau, Toba Pulp. We have from Labuan as well, Universitas Indonesia, Bandung Bahasa, Friendship Mandarin. Okay, so we have Pidato and Mandarin Club as well. So for your information, I will be conducting this session in English. So in such cases, you do not if you were to find it hard to understand, just let me know privately. Maybe I can try to help you address this in a different language after the whole session is done, okay? We have from Malang, okay, Medan Miracle. If I don't pronounce your club, maybe I just missed it. Okay, don't worry. We have Ming Chang Science Toastmasters Club, Eagle, Dynamic, Essential. So we have clubs from all over, not only from Division H and AIM. So welcome everyone, and I'm glad to see all of you here. And as well as Empire. Okay, now let me share my screen. Are you able to see this, everybody? If you are able to see this, you can type 2 in the chat. Okay, good. Now, just now when I was trying on this slide, someone told me, wow, it's so red. And I told the person, okay, I told the person there is a reason why it is red in color, because when it comes to online contests, it is still new. It is not something common for us. The only thing we can do is to try our best to be bold, and red represents bold. Apart from that, throughout my entire slide, there are a few keywords that I will be putting in bold, that I had put in bold and in red in color, okay? So those are the summarization that I did. We will go based on few subsection, and those few subsection, if you have any questions, you can always direct it to Alvin, okay? What I can do for this workshop is that We go by one section to one section. Once we finish onto one section, you try your best to, if you have any question, to directly text, leave a direct message to Alvin so that he could ask and I could answer immediately instead of us waiting towards the end. Now, towards the end, you still have a chance to ask questions, because towards the end, that would be where we will be addressing all the other things that I might not address in the few slides. Okay, everyone? So if you're ready, can you please type, let's see how many participants are there. 86. Can you please type 86? Okay, perfect. Great. I guess everyone is now ready. Now, online speech contest best practice of 2020. It is not the most perfect practice because we are still figuring out based on experiences that we did. I have been in the team of region for online speech contest, and as well as in district for the last round, the last year's online speech contest, and as well as in few other contests or few others meetings that requires us to be online. So based on that, I have been able to or experience a few hiccups along the way that I find that it is best to address them, and I will address them tonight. Okay. We'll cover a few topics, but one of the topics is preparation and technology, and I think this is the most important part. There's a lot of words, I can see that, right? There's a lot of words, and there will be lots of words because this information comes from the best practice guidelines, and those that I highlight are the most important part, and I try to explain to you in the most simplest way possible. Okay, so when you look at preparation and technology, the first thing that comes into your mind are the people that works at the back, and as well as the technology that we use. Commonly in District 87, we use Zoom as what you're using right now. But there are also other districts or other clubs that decided or prefer to use things like Microsoft Teams, okay, and any other technology platform, because it is best to understand that not every club prefer to use Zoom for many reasons. I know that one of the club in my division, the Sarawak Energy Toastmasters Club, they do not or unable to use Zoom because the computer that they use are company's computer, and Zoom are not allowed to be installed on it. So that tend to happen. So in that situation, you may use different kind of platform, but either way, you must have at least one technological platform. According to the guideline, you must have a tutorial, and this tutorial will have the most basic guideline for every person, including contestant or audience, to be able to follow. And it is just the basic guideline on how to sign in, what is the content of it, and as well as how do you operate them, especially those who needs to play some roles. So this is where you need to have a tutorial. But before you create this tutorial, you must know what exactly to write inside. So that's when you finally decide on what kind of technological method that you want to use, you must have what we call a meeting moderator. If you've been in any other District 87 activities, you've probably seen or heard this particular word, okay, or the role that has never existed before. We call them the Zoom master. Okay, these are exactly the meeting moderator position. They are the people who is responsible for setting up the entire meeting and every single technology, and their job scope is only that. Okay, it's only that. So how many meeting moderators do we need? We need 2 meeting moderators. We need the first meeting moderator to responsible for all the other technical difficulty, and the second meeting moderator to be responsible for the recording. A lot of times people wonder, why do we need to record? The simplest thing would be because recording is equivalent to documentation. So whether if you need to do minutes afterwards, or you need to edit and post them afterwards, or you need to use it for your promotional material, that's when your recording comes in. So if you're wondering whether an SAA or Sergeant at Arms can be a meeting moderator, yes, they can. However, I would suggest to have another person to be a meeting moderator or a Zoom master or any other masters that is possible, because they will only handle that. Sometimes you need someone to handle the spotlight, or sometimes someone, a contestant say their audio doesn't work. What happened? Sometimes we have update. So all these things happens very fast paced, because when it comes to technology, it is very fast paced and it changes overnight. For all you know, today you plan perfectly, tomorrow, suddenly Zoom created an update for you to do. So who's going to settle all that problem? Any small hiccups that you might not know. So that person is the meeting moderator. Okay, I will summarize this, don't worry. Okay, we'll go through first. Okay, under the preparation and technology, these are a few things, right? So according to the guideline, the moderator, contest official, and all the contestant has to arrive 45 minutes to an hour in advance. The reason is because you would need this time to set up all your audio, video, and all your troubleshooting if there are any. You would have a dry run in advance, of course. That tends, sometimes people say that technology happens to can feel your fear. Yeah, that happens all the time. Whenever you want to operate a printer, it works perfectly fine when you don't need them, but suddenly when you need them, it doesn't work. It sucks for some reason. The color just doesn't happen, doesn't pop. So technology somehow sometimes can smell your fear. So the only way for us to counter this problem is that you or the contestant, meeting moderator, the contest official has to try their best to attend 45 minutes in advance. And this would help so much for you to set up or take time to breathe. Now, today's workshop group of people were able to do that. They actually attended or came into the room 45 minutes prior. And I was in the room as well, 15 minutes before they allow everybody in. When I sit down and listen to them, talking to each other, and they were conversing, checking in, making sure their internet connection is stable. Those are exactly the things that you have to do. Take this time to allow yourself, before you let the audience in, to allow yourself to be prepared and get ready. And only then you allow audience to arrive 15 to 30 minutes in advance. So let's say, okay, for example, your contest begins at 2 p.m. 2 p.m. Okay, now can you tell me in the chat box, what time should they be in? What time should the meeting moderator, contest official, and contestant should be in? Hi, was I disconnected earlier on? Okay, great. I just realized that when I was about to ask everyone to type in something, and everyone's screen just froze. Okay, where was I? Can someone tell me where did I stop? Alvin?
Yes, okay. The people that type in the Zoom site is almost like 1 p.m. and 1:15. 1 hour and 15 minutes.
Okay, so I didn't get disconnected that part. Perfect. Okay, good. And yes, if the contest starts at 2, you would want to arrive, or the team should arrive at 1:15. The max, the minimum. Okay, that is a minimum amount. Okay, that is a minimum amount, which means that let's say, okay, if you are the person you know that requires slightly longer time to begin, then you may consider to arrive at least 1 hour. Okay, 45 minutes is a minimum. You can pull it even longer than that, especially the meeting moderator. That should be the first person that starts and operates the platform. On the other hand, audience, okay, may want to arrive 15 to 30 minutes in advance. So that would be around 1:30 or 1:45 if the contest starts at 2. Yeah. You could, okay, you could also, one way that I find most effective is that you assign an hour and 15 minutes. So therefore, the first 45 minutes belongs to the contest official, meeting moderator, and contestant. And after that 45 minutes is done, it is finally open to contestant, to audience members, to audience. So allow audience to enter 15 to 30 minutes. The reason is this, because when audience comes in, not every audience understands that you need to mute, or they may have forgotten that they have not muted their setting. So when that happens, you will actually disturb the flow of the contest. So therefore, in order to allow the contest to move in smoothly, allow audience to enter 15 to 30 minutes in advance. So let's say contest begin. Can you or can you not allow contestant to join in? Can someone type in? Can you type in the chat box to let me know, what do you think? Should we allow contestant, or sorry, audience to come in after the contest has begun? Yep, absolutely right. Okay, no, they are not allowed to join. They can join in, okay, when the contests are during a break or during the 1 minute of silence. But the most logical thing to do is you should not, right? You should not. Sometimes the 1 minute of silence is not quick enough. Usually we allow only the judges, let's say they are disconnected, to enter once we reach the 1 minute of silence. This is all depends on the team itself. How fast do you think you can handle the situation? But the most common answer would be no. You should not allow them to come in once the contest has started. So before the contest begin, and before you let all the participants to come in, moderator has to make sure all the contestants and all the judges are present. So that means you can't start the meeting or you can't start the contest without all the people are in. So this is the job of a moderator, or the one who handles Zoom. Now, at certain point, we do have other people like the SAA to handle this, or the contest chair, or the chief judge. So how do moderator ensure all this? So one way that all of us or all of the contest official can do is that everyone report to one person, and that one person can inform the moderator. So when all of this checklist checks in, all of the right people checks in, they would be able, only then moderator can inform the chief judge, for instance, right? So let's say Alvin today let's say today Alvin is the moderator. Okay, now Alvin can say, all right, all the role players are in, we may begin the contest, or we may allow the audience to come in. Only then the people who are in charge will have to do the next step. Okay, now for this particular part, sometimes all the contest officials and contestants, they tend to have technical difficulties. Sometimes this happens whether if your laptop is ran out of battery, or for instance it just doesn't work, your computer freeze. What you can do is that you have to make sure all your contest official has primary device and as well as a backup device. So normally a contestant, we will allow them or ask them to prepare 2 devices in advance. That would be their primary device, which is their laptop, and their secondary device, which is their phone, which in case it doesn't work. So in this situation, whereby let's say, okay, the first device doesn't work, allow them to have some time to log into another device. So this would avoid those unnecessary nervousness, especially the contestant. Make sure that this is what they prepare in advance. I want to let you know from the point of view of a Zoom master that has been working with me for a while now, as a person who has been OCing or contest sharing in a few contests, I do realize this one key thing. You have 2 options. The first option will be get and make sure the Zoom master or the moderator is either next to you, or you get someone who you know will be on their phone 24/7. That means someone who is not awkward in changing from phone to laptop immediately. So I'm gonna call upon Chin Ji, my go-to Zoom moderator, because he's always next to me all the time, to explain a little bit on his point of view whenever he becomes the Zoom host. All right, Chin Ji, you have the floor about 1 to 2 minutes.
Thank you to our speaker today, Hani. And as you can see, this is a table topic session as well. And I will try to explain some details about to be a Zoom master. So all this while, when we have any sessions, I will always be beside Hani whenever she's the speaker or she was the contest chair. Now the thing about being a Zoom master is about having the control. You see, to have the control is the most important thing. You no longer need to go into too details, but you are the ego in this whole meeting. You need to have that view. Now, in order to do that, normally I will appoint 1 or 2 Zoom assistant for me, and I will let the Zoom assistant handle the rest of the details, some more details. For example, when to mute, when to switch off videos, when to unmute, and all the other details, I will let the Zoom assistant to do it. Now, the role of a Zoom master here is to actually see in the big picture, is to actually see what the contest chair wants. Normally, you work closely with the contest chair. You have the entire idea of how this meeting should be, and you should be the one that will immediately spot if there are any emergency. For example, something in urgent, someone actually dropped down. And well, one thing about Zoom master is you have to make sure that you don't end the meeting, you don't click the wrong button, because that is what I did earlier. It was so terrible. I had one meeting, it was really a big havoc because I clicked the end meeting for all button. So to be a Zoom master, you have to be always alert. You must know what you are doing and what the rest of people are doing. So being in control, guys, this is the only thing that I think a Zoom master needs to do. Back to you, speaker.
Okay, thank you so much, my constant Zoom host. However, it is not necessarily that they have to be next to you. I do have other Zoom hosts that I'm very comfortable to work with, and they are not right next to me. Okay, those people, you yourself would know who you are comfortable to work with, and it requires practice. And throughout my entire experience, I've worked with someone like Disney Lai. Okay, he was when I was a division director, he was the administration manager, and he's very good in IT. So I tend to rely on him as well when it comes to IT things, that when I need a Zoom host, or someone like Lisa Yang, that is another one from my division, and all the other people that I know very, very good in technological stance. So sometimes you would know who you can work with well. So these are the people that you should ask help from. as what was said by Chin just now, apart from being a Zoom master or a moderator, you need assistance under your own care as well. So you may need more than just one moderator. So what I did in the past was that not only that I have a Zoom master, I had a two Zoom co-hosts that handles two different things, and I have one chat moderator. And it is important to have a person to monitor the chat, because sometimes people ask a lot of questions, and sometimes one person just cannot handle too many things. The co-Zoom host usually takes place whenever there are people who, let's say, they say, oh, my virtual background doesn't work, what can I do? So that person has to address one person at a time. And what Boy Henry said here is right. To avoid technical difficulties, you need backup for every contest role taker. So therefore, there will be the need of more contest resource person. That's right. The more people you have in backup, the better as well. And most importantly, okay, this is a huge note that people tend to forget. Those are any contestant and contest official, everyone has to show their face, okay, in the camera, and the camera has to be on, except judges. I remember a story that was shared to us by our past district director, Liana. She mentioned that one of these days she didn't realize that her camera was actually on, and because it was on her laptop or her phone, can't really remember, but she carries it, okay, here and there, and she may have accidentally on her camera, and immediately the people who handle Zoom turn it off. It wasn't that very long, but I think that is very important. So sometimes Zoom, the people who handle Zoom may not be very alert. So one of the biggest key thing here is that you have to be very alert, ensuring that your camera does not, the judge's camera doesn't get turned on, and you can turn it off immediately if in case they did. And once their face are exposed, immediately the contest, the chief judge will be able to determine whether if they can or cannot proceed to become a judge. So this is very crucial. So the faster you turn the camera off, if they accidentally turn it on, the lesser hiccup that you will be able to face. So how do we summarize that point just now? Okay, how do we summarize that point just now? So if you have already have a team, okay, for your contest, or if you have not, this would be one of the way you can do. Those things that I mentioned just now seems to be a lot of work, but it is actually not that much if you already have a team with you. So the first thing you may want to do is to appoint an organizing chair. So regardless if it is a club level contest, all the way to area, division, and even district, you must appoint an organizing chair. So that organizing chair will be involved or would be responsible for everything. Well, in coordination, not exactly everything in things to do, okay, in coordination. So from there, organizing chair can appoint a platform host. This platform host is like what I said just now, Zoom master or any other master of different platform. Once you have the platform host will be able to appoint his own team, and from organizing chair to the host, the platform host and his team will be able to prepare and share tutorials. Now this should be emailed in advance so that all the contestants or whoever are interested will be able to view it before they even attend the session. Now while those runs, finally, you may appoint your contest chair. Now, contest chair here has many different criteria. Those are based on your own clubs or based on your own area, division, and district needs. So appoint contest chairs only afterwards. Afterwards, then you can appoint a recording host. Now, why do I separate the platform host and recording host, even though actually the platform host can appoint a recording host? It is because now there is this one thing that happened in the last round of DTM, and I think it's very important to take note. Now, there are 3 people who handle Zoom. There will be Chin, Chan, and Aristo. These 3 people, one of them had to leave earlier. Okay, then one person click record. And then for some reason, when someone accidentally disconnected, the recording or the host changes to another person, including the recording as well. So this is where it gets complex. So when everyone stops the entire meeting, they had no idea who controlled the recordings. And it's very hard because Zoom will automatically adjust the host based on who comes in first. So the best way is that you have to appoint a recording host that you know will not leave the meeting, or a device that will not log out. So organizing chair has to make sure that whoever is appointed as a recording host has to stay back throughout the end. It doesn't have to be a person, it could be just a device. But my suggestion is please have please have a recording host, because it will help so much in case there are hiccups. There are two types of recording, to the cloud and to your computer. Do both. Do both. Okay, always do both. And then you can appoint the chat monitor. This, you can allow your platform host to do that. Afterwards, you can proceed with appointing a timer and then all the other contest officials. So this one, by this time, when you appoint a timer and all the contest officials, this job can be subbed to the contest chair, because we will, by then, contest chair and chief judge, by then only chief judge can look for other judges. The contest chair would have to talk to the contestant. So your job will become less and less as your team grow. And finally, schedule a dry run session. Now, based on my experience, your dry run session should be in two phases. The first phase is with only the people involved or the role players. And then the second phase will be with the contestant. Why? Because the contestant might not be bothered about all your technical difficulties, and they only want to focus on their contest. So let them handle contest. The first dry run can be only with you and your team. And once that is set, only then you start speaking to the contestants. That's when the timer needs to find out what are the details that is required by the contestant, especially in timing requirements, and in case they have other needs that they need, right? So, okay, so that is under preparation and technology and the way I summarize them. Anyone have any specific question for this? May probably private text to Alvin. Alvin, do we have any specific questions so far?
They have a one question that asks, can be the contest being broadcast in the YouTube or Facebook? It means like maybe can be live in YouTube or Facebook.
Thank you, Alvin. So the answer is yes. That is a straight on yes. You may broadcast it live on Facebook or YouTube, making sure that everything is set in place before you broadcast them. So if you're using Zoom, you're actually able to broadcast them live directly to Facebook, and the Zoom master has to be responsible for that. Yeah. So the Zoom master has to be responsible for that. So they have to make sure that the meeting is linked. So the platform itself and the link itself is linked towards the Facebook of the page that you would like to have it broadcasted on. So yes, that definitely can, and that there's no restriction that you should not, because sometimes, okay, in situation whereby you do not want audience to come into the Zoom platform or any of the other platform, you don't want the audience to come in, yes, you can. So let them all view from the outside to reduce and minimize the hiccups, as well as to reduce and minimize the bandwidth usage on the screen. You see, the more people turning on the camera, the very high chance for our entire system to lag. So to avoid that, to minimize the bandwidth, the lesser the people in the platform itself, the actually more smoother chances there are. So those audience can view it from the outside. And so this is where the organizing chair plays a part. You may appoint a different chat monitor on Zoom or YouTube. You can appoint a different person to handle it from the other side in case there are such questions, or to as well as minimize noises, because sometimes people would like to use the chat for, yay, support this person, support that person. Sometimes they are just quoting whatever is spoken by all the contestants. So that tends to happen. In order to minimize that, you can always broadcast it outside, and then do not allow audience to enter Zoom. Yes, this is very much possible. Okay, I hope that answers your question. Alvin, is there any question for this section?
Yes. If the judges' camera are off, so their name, distinguished Toastmaster Hani, are you there?
Yep, I'm right here. Okay, Alvin, thank you so much for that question.
Okay.
So yes, in terms of judges, their names have to be changed to Judge 1, Judge 2, Judge 3, Judge 4, Judge 5, 6, and so on, because their identity shall remain anonymous. Not only that, their screen, okay, has to be, or their pictures has to be just blank, empty, and either it's all black or no pictures at all, but their names have to be changed in advance. In advance means that they have to change their name before they enter Zoom. So Zoom Master, you may be required to prepare a tutorial on how you have to change the name before you log in. Sometimes when people click the link, it automatically go in with your own name. So you do not want that to happen. So you have to prepare a tutorial on how can they change that in advance. I hope that answers your question. Any other question, Alvin?
A lot of questions.
Okay, we open for one more. For this part, and then we'll cover that afterwards. One more, Alvin.
Okay. What do you suggest? A closed contest only for road takers and contestant, or open to everyone? If open to everyone, should we limit the participant? Am I audible?
Okay, thank you so much, Alvin.
Oh.
So, yes, you're audible. My suggestion would be to close the contest to role takers only and get the audience to view from the audience side. That would be from the live streaming part, because I think that would help so much in managing the like the crisis in case there happens any. Sometimes there are audience who would like to unmute and clap their hands. Those are the things that you can't control entirely. But yes, you still can. For example, club contests may be less than 20 people attending. The audience may be less than 20 people, and those are still manageable. So you still can. And my suggestion to you is that I can't give you an exact number of how many people, but I would say if it is only club contest, then only club members can join in. So that could be within 20 to 30 people in the club, in the meeting. If you want to open it to other people from other club, then try to limit, maybe not more than 30, because I think more than 30 will be very, very hard for you to control. Okay, so that will be the under preparation and technology. We'll cover more later, okay? Right, so let's just move on. Oops, am I still sharing screen?
Yes, you are sharing screen about the preparation and the technology.
Okay, I will reshare them. Okay. Right. So communication. So let's move on to the next sub. The next sub is communication during the contest. It means that, okay, now we've done with the preparation. Now we have to actually go to the contest. So there are so many people involved. How do you actually control everything? It's quite hard, right? Especially when you need the communication to be as fast as it should be in real life. Now, bear in mind, no matter what, online contest transition is definitely longer than in person. You would at least, I mean, no matter how fast you are, you would at least have a 10-second delay. Okay, so this tend to happen. So allow yourself to breathe a little and make sure that you understand that there are a gap in between in terms of delay in time. So the only way I can suggest here is that use instant messaging services. Use instant messaging services. There are many platforms. We have WhatsApp, WeChat, Telegram. You have all the other messaging services as a primary form of communication outside of the Zoom. Sometimes you can't really use chat only, right? Because it goes up and it would be a lot of information to take in at the same time. So use instant messaging services. So now this is where all the group chats will take place. This is when you add on to group chat lists in your WhatsApp messages. So let's say, okay, you have to create all this group chat. My suggestion here is to use one key name. For example, let's say it's timer, right? Okay, so let's say it's a group chat for timer. Timer, we'll use what other club name just now that I've read? We will use, what was that? Bali Toastmasters Club, okay? Bali Toastmasters Club. So let's say Bali International Speech Contest timer. Okay, Bali International Speech Contest judges. Well, not judges, chief judge or main meeting. So you have to have a standardized. You have to have a standardized naming so that it's easy for you to find. So because nowadays we keep on using all these group chats. So I'm sure you have group chats from work, your family group chats, you have all the other group chats. So in order for us to save time, we tend to use the search bar, right? So to minimize the searching time, we have to try our best to use a keyword. So let's say your club name is Bali Toastmasters Club, and if it's BTMC, so BTMC contest, and then directly go for the speech contest and make sure after the whole event is done, delete the group chat to make room for future contests. Now I can see that I'm a little laggy. Is it I'm laggy or are you guys laggy? Can you tell me?
Yes, you are a bit lagging.
The chat. So
yes.
so to make sure that you can be audible. Am I laggy?
No more. No more. No more. No more.
Okay. Okay, thank you. I just have to make sure. All right. So when you created all these timing, all the timing groups, or not all the timing group, my apologies, all the groups, okay, there are a few groups you have to bear in mind. So I will share with you, okay, after this, what are the group, okay, what are the type of group, okay. Apart from that, okay, apart from all the group in the instant messaging, you have to be prepared to create a protest chat. Now, sometimes in every contest you have protests, and in physical you can protest as easily as you want, but it's not so hard to it's not so easy to protest when it comes to online content. All the time taken, then sometimes by the time you call, the result is already out, so you want to avoid that, right? So before the release of any result, the contest chair and the judges and the chief judge has to allow some time, okay, do not to be too harsh and too quick in releasing the result. You may take the time to allow sometimes in case anyone would like to lodge a protest. So how do you address a protest? In order to address a protest, you may create a protest chat, group chat consisting of the chief judge, all the voting judge, okay, or let's say the protest is done directly to the chief judge, and then the chief judge has to address it in a different manner because all the judges shouldn't be in the same group chat. What can be done is that the chief judge may create a breakout room or any other separate platform that can only be accessed on that instant by invitation, okay, from the meeting moderator. So let's say it's in Zoom. So meeting moderator can immediately create a breakout room and invite only the specific person involved in that breakout room for them to do discussions, immediately do discussions. Now in that room, all judges still have to maintain their camera off. Okay, all of them still have to maintain the camera off. And as well as, okay, all participants, this has been addressed earlier just now, all participants should change their display name, okay, for the meeting or for the contest. So let's say chief judge is chief judge, contest chair is contest chair, timer, contestants have to change their role and then their name, okay, and as well as for judges and ballot counters, only for these two, okay, judges and ballot counters should remain anonymous. So judges 1, 2, 3, 4 and onwards, and ballot counter 1 and 2, okay, so they should remain anonymous and especially reflected on their name. Okay, so in an easier way to look at it is this, okay, so OC, okay, we have an OC just now, right? So they have to create a main text group, okay, all the main text group are referring to main text group referring to everybody, okay, except judges. Everyone inside, all the role players are inside except the judges, okay, and of course the one without the participants, okay, the one without the participants. So all role players, okay, inside one text group, right? First is that, okay. The second text group that needs to be created is that for all participants with the contest chair and chief judge only, okay. Participant, contest chair and chief judge only. That is the second group. Then we move on to the third group, okay, that will be only for the timer and chief judge. The reason is because once timer is done with all the report, the timer has directly take a photo and send it over to the chief judge. And the photo can be shared in the group chat. So chief judge will be able to determine whether if any contestant are disqualified or not, okay. Then afterwards, chief judge, okay, create a texting group as well for the ballot counter, because only chief judge can know who is the ballot count. Only chief judge and OC usually know who the ballot counters, and no other people actually would know who the ballot counters are, because the ballot counters will be able to know who are the judges. Now, the reason why I mentioned that you do not create a group for judges is simply because you can assign a specific ballot counter to cater specific judges. Let's say we have judges 1, 2, 3. Let's say we have 7 judges. Okay, judges 1 to 4 is for ballot counter 1. Judges 5, 6, 7 is for ballot counter 2. And they have to approach all these judges privately, because the result from these judges should not be shared in a group. They should be sending them, okay, privately to the ballot counter, okay. So that's why you do not create a group for judges. And afterwards, okay, chief judge has to create a texting group specially. Okay, I create a ballot first, okay, skip this part, okay, move on to all the role players, right? So all the role players and contestants must have their specific standardized name in Zoom room. So what does it mean by standardized name in Zoom room? I'm referring to that OC has to assign this standardized name first, okay, once they reach to the Zoom room. So let's say it's like judge 01, judge 02, then everyone has to follow. If it's judge 1, judge 2, then everyone has to follow. So this standardized name has to be mentioned in advance. For all the protests, usually it is directed directly to the chief judge, okay? And once it is done to the chief judge, only then chief judge can cue the Zoom host or the platform moderator to let them know to either create a breakout room or to create a different platform, or to have some time to have some time for them to discuss, okay, so that the waiting period can be slightly prolonged. And that's the last part, okay, opening a breakout room and only by invitation with chief judge. So throughout this entire time, okay, there should not be any one that realizes that is actually any protest happening at that time, because it is something to do with the results, and people are very sensitive when it comes to results. So therefore, no one should know this happens. So this should happen at the background. So what happens in the front with all the audience watching, with all the contestants, what happened is that is where the contest chair plays a role. That's when the contest chair start to do all the contest chair things, okay, things that an MC would do. Prolong the situation, do an interview. It is all up to your creativity. You can also opt to pause and break for a while, but it is up in your hand until the chief judge return back to you. So it's not very easy to become a contest chair. Okay, so far everyone understands this. If you can let me know, if you're still with me by typing number 7 in the chat box. That's perfect. All right, Elvin, any questions so far here?
During the contest, nobody asked the question. During this session, nobody asked the question.
That would be great. Right, thank you. So we can move on to the next part, okay, for the contest chair and chief judge. I'm going to touch only a few on this, and only at the part where I highlight, as usual, I will summarize them towards the end on the action plan or what you should do, okay? So it is quite important for you to have a backup contest official. That means judges, ballot counter. So things can happen, like let's say they suddenly lose internet access and you cannot get a hold of them. Let's say there's no recovery period within, because contest is very quick. You have to make sure that they recover, okay, the situation recovers within the allocated time. So have backup contest official. So let's say ballot counter 1 disappeared. So you at least have another person to be able to be ballot counter 3. Okay, have a backup person. And as well as chief judge has to make sure that the judges are briefing to remember that this is an online contest, so that the judging criteria remains the same. However, okay, judges should not take into consideration on the contestant audio or video quality. Now, chief judge can make the decision to stop the contest and resume when issues are resolved in case there are technological issues. So this is the job of a chief judge. Let's say, okay, all the judges are in, okay, however, let's say one of judges got disconnected out, and then the speaker haven't started speaking. So there's a gap in between, right? The chief judge may extend, okay, to a certain point of time until the judge comes back in again. However, let's say, okay, it's already started, the judges were disconnected. There's nothing else you can do but to disqualify the judge. Yes, judges can be disqualified too, okay? So that happens under the judges. So briefing of judges is compulsory and must be done and must be taken into huge consideration in terms of must be reminded that it should not be considered much in terms of audio or video quality, because everyone has different devices, okay? Because the criteria remains the same, okay? And as well as to make sure that contestant and chief judge are aware that certain accommodation are needed for those contestants that has certain disabilities. Now, sometimes you may have people who are who may not be able to view colors, for example, okay? We have colorblind people who couldn't see red or green, okay? So in this kind of accommodation, whether if the timer will be able to do a certain writing on the screen, okay? So this needs to be taken into consideration. So, all right. Contest chair has to determine as well, contest chair and chief judge actually has to determine the speaking position, okay, for all contestants, to set a standard for all contestants. Now, let's say the judges said that, okay, your hand, okay, outside of the screen like this, cannot see your finger anymore. Okay, I consider that as not a speaking position. Then you have to announce to your contestant in advance. Okay, you have to announce to your contestant in advance. Let's say it is the reason why they disqualify at a certain point, or were judged based on that at a certain point, and you did not mention, and they arises up that issue. Okay, that could be a very big problem for us to handle. So in order to avoid that, you have to set a standard. Okay, and as well as all the contest chair, okay, must meet with the timer to ensure that they practice the method of communication. So we have this 1 minute of silence, right? 1 minute of silence for the judges to mark their ballots. Okay, that session. Now we definitely have to tell the timer have to cue us. So whether if as a contest chair you feel more comfortable looking at the screen, their screen, changing screen, or whether if you prefer them to privately text you, you need to meet up with the timer in advance to inform them what is your preferred method. Okay, and as well as your job to confirm every speech title. So because once you announce your speech title, the contestant speech title, you cannot take it back because it's already been announced. Yeah, so always confirm the speech title over and over again until to the final round, making sure that they do not change it onto the last round. And in case they do, please inform them during your briefing that the changes must be mentioned. All the other things and these three content, okay, one of them is practicing name and speech title pronunciation, can be done if you're required to do that. Okay, so most importantly, as a chief judge and a contest chair, remember to check the eligibility. I screenshot this from the rulebook, speech contest rulebook, the 2020 rulebook. Eligibility must make sure that they are eligible to contest. This is the job and the role of a contest chair and chief judge. So immediately once you know they're not eligible, they are automatically disqualified. Let's say you only discover it during the contest runs, it is automatically disqualified. Okay, eligibility is a #1 priority. This is where our integrity comes in. Because in order for you to move on to area, division, district, and so on, this eligibility will be taken into more heavy consideration, right? So in a shorter way, okay, to concise them is that, okay, you have to assign backup contest official. Afterwards, you have to get the chief judge to brief contest judge, okay, on the online version, on like what you should not bother too much of the audio and video quality just now. You have to accommodate all the contestants with disability in advance and go for a dry run. Okay, after once you go through the dry runs, only then you know what else you need to improve. This is when you create a standard format for the timer, not only towards the contest chair, it is also towards the contestant. Okay, because contestant may have a specific way they want their timer to be mentioned. And as well as, this is where you can announce to your contestant the standardized speaking position, right? And for you to be able to collect and confirm the title of the participants, so contest chair may practice with the appropriate title. This is where you can practice the pronunciation as well. And lastly, and most importantly, please do not forget to introduce the chief judge to contestant. Okay, because chief judge is the only place they can lodge an eligibility or not eligibility, originality. Okay, when it comes to the speech contest. Okay, this is where they can lodge a report or launch a report. Okay, so before I continue forward, I just saw our timer queuing me that I only have 10 minutes left, but I have just a little bit more to cover. Is it okay if I extend, because we have a half an hour Q&A session towards the end, can I extend and use the Q&A session, okay, to to cover all the other things that has not been covered. Is it okay for everybody? What do you think, Alvin?
And sure, just go ahead. Okay, sure, just go ahead. Just go ahead, honey.
All right.
Am I audible? Am I audible?
Okay, thank you so much, Alvin. And right, thank you so much, Alvin. Yes, yes, you are audible. Okay, thank you so much, Alvin, and everybody that is mentioning. Yes, okay, good. I have agreement from everybody, so I'm just gonna continue. Okay. All right. So now this goes into the contestant. So we covered the judges already. Now it goes into the contestant. Okay. So contestant itself, they have their own specific role, and these are the things that contest chair has to brief them in advance. Okay. So it is common for us to hear this: am I audible, am I visible? That is one way for contestant to show that they are ready. Okay. Or they can say ready, right? They can say ready. So this ready is the word ready will be able to indicate, okay, their equipment is ready, and for timer to make sure that this does not count in the start of their time. Okay. Only when they speak after the word ready, or am I audible, am I visible, ready, okay, then only then the time starts with the first word altered after that. So this has to be in the contest chair script. So our common contest chair script would be first word uttered will be when the timer starts. So now we change it to once the contestant mentioned that they are audible and visible and that they are ready, only then the first word uttered after will only count as the start of their time. Okay, this can be fixed into the contest chair script. So for every contestant, it is their duty to attend all the briefing, to test their technology, to test their audio, to test their camera setup with contest chair and all the other people, especially the platform host and the platform co-host, to assign to make sure that everything runs smoothly. You have to do this before, during the dry run, and on the day itself. Okay, on the day itself. It is highly advisable for all contestants to come in 45 minutes, okay, in advance, so that they will be able to try. Sometimes last night your laptop is on, suddenly this morning your laptop cannot be on and only your phone works. Okay, so this happens. It is also that it would be also the time where the contestant can mark their designated speaking area. So this is already the contestant responsibility. Is no longer under the responsibility of the role players. However, role players can remind the contestant to make, okay, so ensure that they will set up the exact same way, okay, ensure that they are set up the exact same way, the exact same stand up, the exact same platform, the exact same tripod, okay, to make sure that it goes the same way as they. It comes into a bit more detail, okay, on the camera. Okay, so far everyone is following, right? Okay, I hope everyone is following. If you're still following me, please type number 9. Okay, good. Okay, everyone is still following. Okay, now this is just a few hints and tips because, okay, I'd like to take this opportunity to show you this. Okay, this is the world champion public speaking, okay, in 2020, Mike Carr. I do believe the reason why he contributed to the few reason why, or one of the things that contributed to his winning is because the version of stage that we are looking upon. Now, typically when you are speaking in physical, right, your stage is the one that is already designated for you, okay? On the screen, you already know this is your stage. However, how do you use your stage is all up to you. And I'm sure that contributes to the way judges mark your stage or appearances. So what Mike Carr did in the few beginning is this. So you notice,
Sorry,
right? Based
sorry, honey, there
on
are no
that,
voice.
okay, you know, yep,
The YouTube is not
yes.
voice.
Oh, no, I don't
Oh,
mean to show you voices. Yep, don't worry about the voice, okay? I just want to show you how he uses the screen. You notice he was at the corner side, okay? Pull himself out of the screen and then come back to the front, right? He uses the camera angle as his stage. So that's exactly what it is. Your stage is no longer on the stage of the in front of everybody. It is still in front of everybody, but it's now constricted to a screen. So your stage is now a screen. So in order to do a very good stage setting, okay, you have to have a good camera setting, right? So it is best to remind, okay, contest chair and organizing chair, it is best to remind that the camera equipment should be on eye level. So right now I'm sitting down, but you can still see my hand because I'm assigning my screen to be in a way you can see me from this angle, okay, my shoulder, my hand, and my head in one screen. That is on purpose. Now, if I were to stand up, I can't because I don't have a taller table. So the only way I can do is I can sit down so I can be on the eye level with you. You have to also that ensure your camera is mounted or secure. Mounted as in it doesn't move, not someone else is holding your camera for you. So if you really need to use your phone, please have or invest in a tripod. I'm sure it's not expensive anymore because everyone requires to have one because almost everyone have to go through this kind of meeting. For those who do not have one, maybe you can suggest your club to invest in a tripod you can borrow during the contest. Okay, so when you are speaking, okay, make sure that the webcam, looking at the webcam as an eye contact. So this can be under the judge's briefing, whereby eye contact considers as when you look into the webcam, right? That is an eye contact. And as well as try your best to make use of the view of the contestant without sacrificing an audio quality. Now, I want to show that again to you just now, how Mike Carr did it. Okay, I know you can't hear the audience. All right, look at how far he stands and what is on his necktie. There is actually an audio device, okay, a microphone that allows him to stand a bit far, whereby you can see his shoulder hand, okay, almost towards his waist, and there are some space on his head, and he's far enough for him to play with the entire screen because he has a lot of he has a lot of body movement, right? Look at that. Okay, he has a lot of body movement and he knows he has a lot of body movement. So in order for him to be able to do that, he would like to maximize the view of how you look at him without sacrificing audio quality. So if you are planning to do that, or any contestant are planning to do that, and make sure that they do not sacrifice, okay, their audio quality, because after all, what's the point of giving a speech when no one can listen to you and only can see you, right? So if you do not have a headset or an earphone, no problem, then stand a little closer and try to arrange your gestures in a different way. So when it comes to gestures, you have to try your best to plan, okay, this movement and ensure that they will remain in a frame. So Mike Carr, he's definitely amazing when it comes to utilizing his technology. He ensured that all his gestures can be seen. None of them are extruding out that you can't see it. There are many contestants that I see were cut off, okay, because of the screen. So they didn't actually plan it in advance. So make sure you plan your movement and gestures, especially when you have wordings on the screen. When you hold a paper and want to show your wording, make sure you are close enough, or if the wording are visible enough, okay? Ensure that that can be done during the dry run. Okay, for these lighting tips, I'm not going to cover it because this slide you can obtain it from me, or you can actually read this because this requires for you to go and try it on. Okay, generally, make sure when you're on screen, make sure your face can be seen because that is your eye contact, and that is how you contact with your audience. Okay, this can be in many ways. Just ensure that you can be seen. Lighting plays a lot. Okay, so when you arrange them, or when you're preparing for all this, you have to make sure you reduce all the background noises as much as possible, and as well as you try any microphone or external audio. Let's say you're using the clip mic of your own, make sure that you try them on. And please, as much as we know that not everyone has a laptop, perhaps avoid using a mobile device, because a mobile device is quite limited in terms of screen. So let's say that you need to pin your timer, for instance, or you need to see yourself speaking to make sure that you're on the screen, but you need to see your timer at the same time. So it is actually quite limited. My suggestion is avoid using a mobile device if possible. However, if it is okay that requires to use mobile device, ensure that they practice as best possible image, so that they can see the timer and they can see all the flow in advance, and as well as their microphone. Because when you use a mobile device, your microphone is a little bit tinier than when you use the laptop. So this has to be practiced in advance, yeah? So the way you handle a camera is as simple as this. You set a camera standard, okay? Set a camera standard. Your webcam has to be an eye level. Camera has to be mounted and secure. No one should hold them. You have to practice all your gestures and your distance. Mark them once you're comfortable with it. You have to try your best to reduce background noises. Like the way I try to reduce my background noises is I use my Bluetooth headset, okay? So because I can move anywhere I want, okay, without having the wires, making me constricted and restricted to my movement. And as well as you have to try your best to check your audio quality before the day and on the day itself before you start speaking, and only when you're ready, then only you say ready, okay? There are time allocated for this, we understand, okay? If you want to listen more or try to analyze more, it's already on YouTube, okay? 2020 Toastmasters World Champion of Public Speaking, Mike Carr, is already uploaded there. You can view and analyze them yourself, okay? So just now I've already covered, right? Just now I've already covered judges and ballot counters. I will just summarize them. This is just highlighting, okay? This is just highlighting on what I said earlier, okay? So the summarization for judges and ballot counters are, okay. So judges has to make sure they include a signature, and without the signature, ballot counter, please go back to them and say, judges, please sign. If you don't sign, I don't take this as a ballot. Let's say a judge take a photo and send to you without signature. Can you count them as a ballot? Can someone tell me? Can everyone type in the chat, tell me whether if you can accept a ballot without signature? Yep, that is a no, okay? Definitely no. No judge, because it can be sent by anybody. Some imposter who wants their team to win. Let's say the ballot counter texted the wrong number. That number happens to be number of audience who really want that specific contestant to win, it can be like that, okay? So judges has to include signature, and their signature has to be entered either okay in a hand form taken photo of, okay, through a device or a fillable version under the ballot. So either way, it has to be done. It has to be signed, okay, the name and the signature. So judges and ballot counter, okay, should speak with the chief judge, okay, ahead of the contest to confirm the method that will be used for collecting and counting ballots and to ensure accuracy. Meaning that chief judge, judges and ballot counter, they have to coordinate in advance, okay, so there's no hiccup. So generally, it's just like what I said earlier, everybody else, they can go through, everyone, okay, send in to the ballot counter send in to the chief judge. That is the most smooth way. So far, we hadn't had any hiccup with that method. If you have other method and you think it works better, you can try to do so, as long as it doesn't reveal who is the judges, yeah, and as well as you do not reveal who are the people that is involved, and all the like who is on the first, second, third. Every judges shouldn't know their each other's result as well. Okay, that is very important. Not all judges should be put in one group chat and they share all their results. Okay, that should not happen. Their results are anonymous at all times. Okay, let's cover the timer. Okay, so far I think that's okay. Okay, let's go for timer. So we generally have two timers. One is the first official timer, and the second timer will be the one who operate the signal of the light. Okay, so we generally have two timers. Normally people say that the first timer will be the official timer as a backup. But the truth is, both timers are very important, because the first, not only that they are the one who take down the note, okay, or whatever is in the whatever is in their what do you call that, the time, the stopwatch. I'm out of words. Okay, the stopwatch. Okay, what is written in the stopwatch has to be recorded in timing sheet. That will be done by timer 1. Now timer 2 will be the one who is responsible to change their background screen or pull out a paper that has colors. Okay, they are the one who operate the signal. So these two timers should coexist and do work hand in hand. The way they coordinate with each other has to be leave up to them. However, the minutes and seconds, okay, should not be too far off. Usually seconds, okay, seconds should not far off. Okay, okay, that is illogical. If it's too far, then something is wrong over there. So this is where the timer has to decide. Okay, so let's say, okay, now let's look at upon something that could happen if it fails. Okay, two things can fail: the signaling device or the stopwatch. In this case, not only that, let's say suddenly timer disconnected halfway, and that was already the timer assigned. Okay, so the one way to reimburse this is at 30 seconds, 30 seconds, okay, extra overtime before being disqualified. Let's say, okay, a timer disconnected, let's say halfway, okay, let's say the speaker has been speaking already for 2 minutes, and then the timer didn't realize they were disconnected. Then automatically, okay, contestant received an extra 30 seconds. How do we know whether they can receive these extra 30 seconds? So timer, let's say you are timer 2, you are disconnected and you are responsible for the background, immediately text message timer 1 to take over your job, or have your backup timer to do it for you. Okay, have your backup timer to do it for you while you try to reconnect back, and automatically grant the contestant an additional 30 seconds. Okay, for any signal device problem, stopwatch fail, or any disconnection towards the entire session. So with that, you have to make sure that timer 2, making sure that timer 2 is always visible to contestant at all times. Okay, always visible to contestant at all times. You have to try your best to invite them to contestant briefing, and making sure that their webcam is on the entire time during the speech session, during the speech contest, because so that they don't run away, okay, from the screen. That's one of the things, and that they can always cue the contestant. Let's say the background is already changed, but the contestant didn't realize, or let's say the contestant require visible prior agreement, of course, okay, prior agreement that the contestant require you to carry a certain color on the screen, a certain wording. So this would help when the timer have their webcam on at all time, both timer, okay, timer 1 and timer 2, right? So the summary for this would be: you brief contestant on the timer standardized method, ensure contestants are aware of the location and of the timer, or inform them to pin the timer in case they're using a device that they couldn't see where the timer are. So this has to be done before they start speaking, because once they start speaking, there's nothing we can do anymore. And as well as after the end of the contest, send timers report to chief judge. Okay, send timers report to chief judge. Okay. So far, Any question up until the few subsection that we mentioned just now, Alvin?
Yes, if the contestant is granted 30 seconds extra overtime, should the contestant be informed?
No, contestant should not be informed. This is an automatically granted, okay? This is an automatically granted because we do not want to stop them from speaking, okay? So what you can do is you do not, usually, okay, usually, let's say, okay, the light is not green yet. So you can automatically add that 30 seconds, only then the last few, okay, green, amber, and red, only then after that 30-second addition, okay? Let's say, okay, that 30-second addition is when the light is already green, then extend the green for 30 seconds. Let's say the 30 second is already at yellow, so extend the 30 second during the yellow, only you switch to red. However, when it's already reached to red, then you just keep the red remain, okay, and you do not have to inform them. So at this point, you just have to let your contestant feel as nervous as possible until the announcement whether there is a disqualification or not, okay? Because this happens, and it happens in various times. You try to minimize the nervousness of a contestant by adding on to whichever light you comes into, okay? So that is timer's job. So timer, be quick in your maths. Okay, be quick in your maths. Okay, so okay, I think Alvin, is there any question for these few parts apart from that?
No more. No more.
Okay, great. So I have only a few more slides to touch before we go to the general Q&A. So I will finish it. Then we have a general Q&A. Right. So this is already considered as a house rule, okay, whereby making sure that all the audience can keep their phone and microphone and videos, okay, muted and turned off all the time. If they are inside the Zoom or inside the platform, if they are outside, then that is fine, okay. And remember the chat box, okay, you actually can turn it off. However, if your club or your area division opt to turn it on, make sure you set expectation on how do you want to use this chat, okay? Perhaps inform the audience in advance. The chat are not allowed to be used to, create a certain applause or bias, to avoid biasness, okay? Only use the chat to indicate a certain technical issues. For example, like just now you said you can't hear what I played, okay? That could happen as well, okay? So indicate your expectation. And as well as, most importantly, and this is just a very new recent rule, and fortunately for me, I had actually read this particular statement. This is the online contest speech statement in the beginning of your contest, and or include it in writing in the chat, okay? What is that contest statement? Okay, you may screenshot this or look upon this in the contest rulebook. This is online speech contest statement. This entire thing has to be read, okay? This entire thing has to be read, and usually it is read by the contest chair, by attending this remote audio, because sometimes, most of the time we will be recording, like for example, this session. So people tend to use this to for their own use, and it may lead to a certain content. Remember, speech contest, and the content you will only know during the contest speech. So sometimes may or may not be appropriate. It all depends on the contestant itself. So in order for us to save ourselves, okay, from that kind of problem arising, we have to read this online speech contest statement. Okay, this is a compulsory. It is in the Toastmasters Contest Rulebook 2020. It's already in there, right? Okay, so finally, the end of contest, you have an award session. Okay, now this award session, similarly like the physical one, you have to determine what method works for you. Normally what we did was that we deliver at the end of the contest. You can have the moderator, okay, you can have the moderator or the Zoom host or anyone who is assigned to do that to screen share the certificate while the contestant face is pinned, for example. Okay, this can be a time. This can be a method you choose to fill the time while the result is being tabulated, and as well as, or you could pause the contest. You can tell everyone, okay, the final speaker has spoken. We will have a 30 minutes break. Okay, and then we will be back here at let's say 30 minutes from now. Let's say like finish contest at 4:30. We'll be back at 5 o'clock. So everyone can turn off their camera and then it can go to transition. So this all depends. Okay, there's no restriction or any template for this. It's all up to the club division areas to handle and determine what method works for you. Let's share. It is your duty to extend the time to ensure that the audience are well informed, okay, and making sure that the flow doesn't break. Okay, that is for the award. And okay, afterwards, make sure every digital file that includes information about score, contest result, judging notes are deleted. Now, who are these people who have to delete their files? Judges, chief judge, ballot counters, because only the three roles would know what are the information that is included in the judging notes. This also includes, okay, one way to settle this problem is that you may delete, okay, the catch that you have under your WhatsApp. Let's say you're using WhatsApp, please delete the photo, okay, from your phone. Now, this is all about your integrity as a Toastmaster. So it is all up to you to delete them, but please make sure that happens, because sometimes you don't know. You may, sometimes you want to show your friends, hey, this is my club poster. You flip, then suddenly there is a ballot there. Okay, that happens because I do that all the time. So delete them before that happens. Okay, delete them before that happens, even if you are the most careful person ever. Okay, so that would be what happened after the whole thing is done. Okay, I only have 2 more slides left, okay, and I will cover these two. This is just an addition information. So just now was general speech contest, specifically for international speech contest. Then you would have your evaluation and table topic. The rules still the same, okay, the whole flow is still the same. The only addition is that if you're conducting an evaluation and table topics, you just have to make sure there are methods, okay, for the contestants to leave the main meeting. So because normally in evaluation and table topics, you need to send them to a breakout room, or they have to wait into another room before they enter. So the Zoom platform master would have to arrange a method so that the contestant can go in and out smoothly. And that place, okay, they cannot just wait without anybody. You still have to be on the screen. They have to be monitored. So in Zoom, it's so much easier. You send one SAA together with all the other contestants, so that we know they are not watching. So how do you know they are not watching or start planning or start doing things? Okay, so those who actually ever experienced this in the room, or those who actually ever became one of the SAA, know that in there, okay, there are many methods I've heard. Okay, some people, they have to put their hands on the top to make sure you're not writing, extra notes for the evaluation session. Sometimes, so that they don't keep thinking how to evaluate, they have to start singing, like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, that everyone have to sing together. As long as they are monitored, you should be good. Okay, and then they can come into the session without any problem. They should be good as well. But make sure you inform your contestant. Okay, SAA must always be in the room. Okay, they can never be like a separated one. Unless I really like the person say, never mind, I can take care of myself. Okay, no such thing. You can take care of yourself. We have to take care of you. So take it as Toastmasters hospitality. Okay, take it as Toastmasters hospitality, right? And for like I said just now, okay, hands must be visible in the frame of the camera. Of course, if you ask all the contestants to put their hands like this until the end of the last contestant, then the last contestant would have a very huge muscle at the end of the day. So just ensure that, like, let's say they're tired like this, okay, you can always do this, anywhere, as long as their hand can be seen, okay? So this is SAS job to ensure. So for evaluation speech contest, a small note here is that every test speaker has to, the test speaker in evaluation contest has to keep the camera off, and their name has to change only test speaker. So you don't have test speaker Alvin Wijaya, no such thing, okay? Only test speaker, right? So no name, no title, nothing whatsoever until the time the name are announced. Then they're on the camera to show who they are. Okay, it should be anonymous. It should be anonymous at all times. And as well as for the table topic contest, sometimes, like we have lag, and maybe the contest chair also have small lags in between. What contest chair can do is that they have to type privately in chat, okay, directed to the contestant, okay, as well as reading it out loud. So it's only privately. So I mentioned it, let's say, okay, less is more, but I'm also typing in the chat, less is more. I can copy paste that in advance, okay? So you can do that both at the same time. And as well as has to be mentioned to the contestant that, so the online speech contest best practice of 2020. Alvin, now, is there any question that I can address? You may let me know.
Okay, the question is, does the standardize include something like standing position, like contestant must stand and they are not allowed to sit during the session?
Okay, thank you, Alvin. The quick answer will be yes. Okay, the quick answer will be yes. Let's say it all depends on your club to standardize this. Let's say you want everyone to stand up, and because then it's only fair, then you have to mention that standardization. Let's say that your club prefer that only from head to waist, then only head to waist for everybody. So this standardization varies from different club, different area, different district, different division. Okay, so it is up to you to standardize on how. If you feel that will affect it, then you can standardize that to make it fair for everybody. Yes.
Okay,
Yep, Alvin.
the next question is, how if the contestant face the internet problem in the middle of their speech in a few times, like freezing the screen, and how long the contestant may could be joined back again to the meeting before it declared as a disqualified? Or what we would, or what the continuing question is, or what we would call the technical issue that might happen with the judge and the contestant and the solution for the contestant and the judge is disqualified.
Okay, very good, Alvin. Okay, I'll address the contestant first. So in terms of contestant, usually when you are speaking, you probably wouldn't realize that you are stuck. The only person who will realize you are stuck is actually the chief judge. So this is where the chief judge actually can intervene and said you are not audible, and the chief judge will be able to actually stop that particular contest and ask the contestant to continue once the whole internet access situation has been adjusted. Now this time, the time taken varies, all depends on the judge. Usually it happens for a long time, and then you come back and then it happens again. It happens more than 3 times. The chief judge will be able to disqualify you, okay, for that. In that situation, the chief to actually for contestant, the only way is that if it happens, chief judge job is to stop it and then ask them to fix it, and they can do it all over again. Now, and it is again, okay, in terms of the specific rules, but what we did in the last, if I recall correctly, what we did in the last round, that will be the way, okay, that will be the way we did in the last district level online contest, if you have too many hiccups. But fortunately, no one, that doesn't happen to anyone. So my best advice is, you have to make sure either you have your phone data ready and your Wi-Fi ready at the same time. In case your phone data is off, in case your Wi-Fi is not working, then at least you have a phone data. Always have a backup. Okay, that is for the contestant. For the chief judge, for the judges, if they are disconnected for the international speech, when it's not more than 30 seconds of disconnection, they can still come back and continue to become a judge. However, if they are disconnected longer than that, they are automatically disqualified as a judge, and their entire judging from the beginning to the end cannot be used. Okay, cannot be used. Meaning that, let's say I'm a judge, okay, and our timer Vivin is the speaker. So while she was speaking, I got disconnected halfway, and I didn't manage to come in within the allocated time. So the speaker before Vivin is Alvin, and the speaker after Vivin is our OC. So my entire ballot just doesn't count anymore because of that. Okay, so I automatically disqualified. So the judges has to be able to be present in the whole session. Alvin.
Okay, the next question. What if the contestant is using the same speed to complete in the area level? Broadcasting might not be beneficial for him or her. Like he already made the contest from the cup level, the space, and then he
repeat, Alvin.
What if the contestant in using the same speed to complete in area level, that he used the cup level space to complete the area level again in the same speed?
Thank you, Alvin. For this question, there is no rule saying that you cannot use the same speech. After all, you wouldn't know who is the judges anyway. Okay, you shouldn't know who is the judges anyway. So there is no restriction saying that you cannot use the same speech. You can still use the same speech. You may improve it already. Who knows, right? Yep, Alvin.
Okay, the next question. If the connection contestant lost while performing, it should be let them complete the speed or inform the contestant who performed.
Can you repeat that, Alvin?
If the connection contestant lost while performing, it should be let them complete the speed or inform the contestant who performed. Am I audible?
This question correctly. If the contestant got disconnected in between, should we let them continue or should we not? Is it what it
Yes.
means? Is
yes.
it what,
Yes. Yes, it is.
Okay. So this question is the exact same as the first the question that I answered before. Okay. Usually when you are disconnected, you probably didn't realize you're disconnected. So chief judge, okay, can actually allow them to stop for a while until they can fix the problem, okay, and then return it back. However, if it's more than if it's an international speech contest, if I'm correct, okay, international speech contest, if the disconnection is more than 1 minute, if more than 3 minutes, if I recall correctly, then you are not allowed to continue. However, okay, in order for me to be able to get this answer and information directly to you, okay, whoever is asking this question, I can actually check with you again later, because I'm not on whether if we have a template of this standardized timing or whether this is based on the chief judge and contest chairs, no, sorry, based on chief judge initial planning. So I can actually get back of this to you, and I wonder if we have any district officer apart from me here. Our is there any other officers here GD at the moment? We have our finance manager, Jason Ko. Jason, may I check with you if you actually know if we have any specific time okay, for the when the disconnection comes back. Based on my experience, those are only one experience. I don't have that many experience of people disconnecting and coming back in. So I can get back to this answer to you, because usually this will be informed directly to the during the contest. During you want to know, you can privately text me, okay, afterwards, after the whole session, then I can get the answer for you. Okay, Alvin, I think we can just proceed first. Yeah.
Okay, the next question. How many representatives will be sent from club level to area? How many representatives would be sent from club level to the area? Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible. I think I'm stuck or you're stuck. It's okay, it doesn't matter. Okay. So yeah, our PDD Liana Kwan answered. How many people from contest to area? Okay, from contest to area, you may need to check with your area director. Usually, if your area is less than, usually if your area less than 4, you normally send 2. If you're more than 4, maybe you need to send less. But it all depends on how many areas.
Distinguished Toastmaster Hani, we cannot hear you.
Oh, sorry. Okay, to be exact, okay, usually the district already announced during the DECM, okay, you can send 2. Can you hear me? Okay. Good. Right, next question. You can send 2, yeah, this is already announced during the DECM.
Can the speech delivered in the contest be counted as project done in our pathway?
Alvin, you may need to repeat that because I hear a cut of you.
Can the speech delivered in the contest can be counted as project done in our pathway?
Oh, okay. I'm guilty of I'm actually guilty as one of those people who actually do that, giving a speech contest, giving a project, like doing my project as a speech contest. I actually done that before, and actually done that multiples of time. There is no restriction that you cannot do this. However, as following the pathways, you do need an evaluator. You do need an evaluator to be on standby. Make sure you get evaluated, because you will not be able to get evaluated during the contest, right? So make sure you have an evaluator, and no restriction on that. You can. Okay, I do it all the time. Of course, if you have a specific pathway and specific objective that you want to achieve, maybe don't practice it during the contest. Practice it during the like a club meeting, so that you have a more conducive environment to help you to improve and grow, instead of during a contest. Yeah.
Okay, any specific rule for organizing chair and contest chair must from the club? Organizing chair and the contest chair must from the club?
Okay.
Am I
I'm assuming you're asking this question based on. I'm assuming you're asking this question based on club level. There is no rule saying that the OC or the organizing chair and the contest chair has to be from the same club. Of course, if it's a club level, you should use your own people for many reasons. Okay, I can tell you 3 reasons. Okay, the first reason is that you get a point. Okay, for this, because organizing chair is one of those projects you can do. Contest chair is as well as those projects you can do. Okay, that is number 1. Okay, point number 2 would be that when you use your own club member, you give opportunity for those people who is not involved in contesting to actually play a role. So those of them who want to practice role playing or leadership will be able to do that, even if it's not for the points. Okay, and then like number 3 is that you know that if if the contest chair or organizing chair comes from a different club and they are organizing it for your club, not only that the point goes to their club because he is a member of a different club, he also could be a spy from your club, from their club, looking onto who is going into the next level. You know, like what kind of speech is done. Okay, for all you know, that could be an intention. So I'm a bit of a for me, when I contest, I do not want people to outside of my club to know what is my content, so that if I want to use the same speech in the area level, no one else except for my club member to know. So they can fix it for me. I can use the same speech, go to area level where I compete with other clubs. So that is a bonus point. So try, okay, you need to serve them. That's why they pay Toastmasters membership to pay to learn from the club. Unless you really have no option, then there is no restriction saying that the organizing chair cannot be from a different club. Yeah.
okay? For the last question, for the certificate assigned by the contest chair or organizing chair, and also is virtual background allowed in this contest?
Okay. So the first question, is it supposed to be signed by OC or CC? Usually, and as far as I know, it is signed by contest chair. Okay, so it is assigned by contest chair. But I do believe that if your contest chair are not available to sign, or if the contest chair and organizing chair are the exact same person, then use contest chair to sign. Okay, usually it's contest chair. Organizing chair can sign the certificate for role players. That can be what organizing chair's signature for. And then for the other question, what was that question again, Alvin? I suddenly forgotten.
Is virtual background allowed in this contest? During the contest, they may use the virtual background.
So virtual background is not allowed. You have to choose a plain background, okay, and usually a non not much obstruction of a background. So you have to choose one back side that no other things on the background. Try your best to find as plain wall as possible. So no virtual background is allowed. Yeah. So that was the last question. Am I right, Alvin?
Yes, because we are rich of the time.
Okay, great. So before I pass back to Alvin, I would like to say thank you very much for staying in with me until the end. I know that it is a lot of information to take in, and the only way you could do is that you have to take one step at a time and then try to be as detailed as possible and fix one problem at a time. Eventually, you'll be able to do and do not take it all in for yourself. A speech contest, especially an online version. All right, without further ado, I'll return it back to our. I hope to see you guys again and see your practice in the speeches. Back to you, Alvin.
Okay, thank you to our keynote speaker, distinguished Toastmaster Hani, that shared to us how to conduct the online contest during the club level, area, and even though until the district contest. Thank you so much. On behalf on this, we would like to say the appreciation to our keynote speaker. I would like to welcome our organizing chair to give the appreciation to our keynote speaker. Let us welcome Toastmaster Zaihanirah Taurus. The time and place are yours.
Thank you so much, our MC for tonight, Toastmaster Alvin Wijaya. Thank you very much to distinguished Toastmaster Hani for such an insightful session. I believe that everybody of us here has learned something new because an online contest is something new for everybody of us. And thank you very much one more time. Here, we would like to present you a humble memento from us, the committee. Thank you very much, distinguished Toastmaster Nur Zaihanirah.
Thank you, everybody, and thank you, the organizing chair, for this opportunity.
Back to you, MC.
Thank you. Before we close this session, we would like to take a photo session together. Will be led by our Toastmaster Peeling. Peeling, can you take a photo session?
All right. Okay, thank you. Okay, I'll be taking pictures, but I'll be taking for 4 times as we have 4 slides. So I'll be starting now. 1, 2, 3. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3. And one more time. 1, 2, 3. Okay, it's all set. All set.
Okay, thank you, Toastmaster Hani. Before we close the meeting, we have some announcement from our division H&M. I would like to invite our division M director to announce. Let us welcome distinguished Toastmaster Anna Norifka Ayun. The time and screen are yours.
Okay, thank you so much for MC Alvin. Am I audible? Hello, am I audible, everyone?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So, everybody, first, I would like to say thank you so much for our speaker today, distinguished Mrs. Nur Zaihanirah. And also, I would like to announce everyone that I do believe that all of us, we have an eager to learn more about contest. So that's why division H&M together with division BIG and BIGNG would like to conduct a workshop together next Monday with the title of the workshop is The Art and Science of Online Judging. So here in the next workshop, we are going to learn more about how to judge. So it would be very great chance for all of the members who want to be the judges and also want to be the contestant later on. And not only that, also for all the contestants, we can learn more about what the judges will mark our speech later on. So I would like to invite all of you to come to to join our workshop next meeting. So our workshop will be conducted on 12 October 2020 with the same time 7:15, and I will send the link later on to you. And our divisions and also the marketing team will invite and share you the link later on. So hopefully that we can meet again in the next workshop. And for the next informations, I would like to call my partner, Division H Director, Jessica.
Okay, thank you, distinguished Toastmaster Ayun, my beloved partner. Am I audible? Okay, thank you. First of all, I would like everyone to give a big round of applause to yourself and also to our speaker of today, distinguished Toastmaster Zaihanirah. Thank you very much, Hani. I would like to give a big round of applause. Okay, I would like to quote one quote from Benjamin Franklin, say that if you are failing to prepare, you prepare to fail. That's why from our division, we really want all of the members in our division and also all of the Toastmasters members to prepare from now how to conduct an online contest. As you know, this year, Toastmasters International, we are going to conduct all of the contests online. As this is also not quite familiar for all of the members, that's why we want to standardize it starting from a club level, area level, division level, district level to prepare each of you members who are very enthusiastic to join the contest, which I can see because the Toastmasters today's participants hit to 95 participants. Thank you very much for the enthusiasm. And also because our speaker was very pretty, that's why there are so many participants, I believe. Yeah, thank you very much for the enthusiasm. And I hope that by joining this contest, it's going to prepare you to be more prepared speaker and also to be a greater speaker and also a champion in the future. Represent your club, area, division, district 87. Thank you very much. Over to you, MC.
Thank you, Toastmaster Jessica. We have reached the end of this session. On behalf of the organizing team, I would like to express my gratitude to all of you taking your time of your busy personal and professional schedule means the work of us. Thank you to all of us who joined this event and stay until the end. We hope to see you in our next event. Stay safe, stay healthy. I am Alvin Wijaya signing off as your MC. We will end this session with countdown in the 4, 5, 3, 2, 1. Bye bye and see you in the next event.